Assalamu alaikum, Imtiyaaz. It's such an honor to have you on the show today. Thank you for joining me.
No, shukran for having me.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
Good, good. Are you nervous for your upcoming presentation?
I think it's a bit of both, nervous but more excitement as well to get the message across.
Okay, so your journey is one of resilience, but you've also transformed your creativity into mobility across Africa, right? But behind that, who is Imtiyaaz? Like, where did the story begin?
So, I'm from Manenberg, born and bred on the Cape Flats, come from a family of minibus taxi operators. Started entrepreneurship and then became a tech co-founder of Loop. And what we're trying to do is digitizing minibus taxis, so payments and mobility in minibus taxis.
Okay. And how did your upbringing shape this need or this drive for innovation?
Manenberg is a notorious gang-ridden community, not known for innovation. But I think that there's real problems in Manenberg, and people normally don't call people in Manenberg founders because they're doing business to survive.
Yeah.
So I think the lessons that I've learned in Manenberg shaped who I am today, and obviously it's speaking in what we've built at Loop.
Yeah. That's such a powerful perspective. It shows like your upbringing can actually pave the way for your future. So how did you get exposure to technology?
I started in tech, I think it was 7 years ago, where I co-founded a previous business of mine. I was always entrepreneurial, and got approached by two guys from the University of Stellenbosch who built some tech.
Yeah.
I then got involved with them, worked with them for a year and a half on the project, and saw how technology could solve real-life problems for people.
Yeah, that's such an amazing initiative. And as an entrepreneur, what would you say is your greatest accomplishments?
We're still building, we're constantly building, but with Loop, we've obviously showcased in cities like Lagos, Cairo, Lusaka, New York, Amsterdam, and even Berlin.
Yeah.
Showcasing our innovation and where it comes from, like a community like Manenberg, I think that's the biggest achievement.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. So just tell us a little bit about Loop. How does it differ from like your normal, like maybe Uber?
So what we believe in co-creation, because we believe the problem that we're solving is really big. It's not going to be solved by one person, Imtiyaaz Riley or Loop as a company. It's going to be solved by an system of builders. So I think what makes us different, what makes me different within the space, is that people have tried to solve challenges within the space, but is not from the space. So my grandfather was in the taxi industry, my father was in the taxi industry, and now I'm a third generation minibus taxi entrepreneur, which helps a lot.
Yeah, and that probably ties in with your roots, and you understand the needs behind all of it, right?
Yeah.
So what's your reason for being at Ummah Tech?
I believe, I met Ishmael a couple of months ago, heard about Ummah Tech, first heard about the Muslim Tech Festival that happens in London. I think it was London. So we connected with Ishmael, and we really believe, that there's a lot of lessons that can be learned in entrepreneurship, and Ummah Tech is such a great platform for Muslim technologies just to showcase their solution. The slogan, faith meets technology, that's what it's all about.
It is, definitely. And it's important for us to realize that us being part of these spaces actually creates a pathway for future generations. So you being a CEO of Loop, how do you stay grounded or connect with community roots?
Well, I think that what helps me a lot is the team around me, and the team at Loop that does amazing things. We're very community rooted because the challenges in emerging and informal economies, it's really difficult. So we try to stay close to our commuters, and what we've learned on our side is that you can have digital advertisements and advertise your business as much online, but people from these communities, they believe in word of mouth. So that's why we believe that our users, our drivers, our commuters, our owners on the system, we do a lot of design thinking with them, so where we unpack the pains and gains all the time, which makes us drive the business and the features on the platform forward.
Yeah, so I guess your on-ground staff probably have the most insight to what's needed, right?
100%.
Or changes, yeah. So in terms of faith, how has faith grounded you when the world gets heavy? I know being online, being in the tech space, it has a certain heaviness on you. How has faith played an impact there?
Yeah, I think it's very important because at Loop, I always tell the guys, it's all about Nia, all about your intention, and if your intention is pure, everything else will come after that. So don't do something just to get paid, to have the right intention, have the right mindset around it, and everything else will follow.
Yeah, that's so grounding. In terms of your personal space, what's the greatest failure you've had? And how have you overcome that?
I think for me, and in business, what's the most difficult is managing people, and choosing the right people to build your business with you, because some people are there for seasons, some people are there for many years, and that's been the most important takeaway and the most difficult challenge for me as a founder, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, is choosing the right people, because you don't always make the right choices when it comes to that.
That's so true. And your people are your main investment, right?
Yeah.
So behind the technology, and when the cell phones go off and the lights go off, who is Imtiyaaz?
Yeah, so I guess when the lights go off and everything goes off, I'm kind of a bit of a workaholic, so I focus a lot on my business, but I think spending time with my wife, it's very important to me, and she's the biggest driving force behind what I do every day.
Okay. So family has obviously played a big role in bringing you to this point, right? How would you say having a community around you that supports you has impacted you?
Yeah, and I guess we can tie it back into, co-creation, being customer-centric. The community building is super important. We've got a good relationship with one of our partners called R Labs in Mitchell's Plain, and they've kind of helped us stay within the community because, as you expand the business, you can often lose touch and, lose your connection as to why you started the business. But us being involved with the community, talking with them every day, constantly, expanding what we've built within the community and putting users and people first has really helped us a lot.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And in terms of sorry, I got stuck there. If you could go back to your younger self, what would you say to yourself 5 years ago, and what would you say to your future self?
Well, to my younger self, I'll tell him that I've realized that business is the toughest sport, so you have to be resilient in business because things don't always go as planned. That would be my advice to my younger self. And then the other one?
To your older self, 5 years from now, what would you say to yourself?
I would say buckle up. It's a bumpy ride. That's where we're going to be. But yeah.
And your vision going forward?
My vision going forward, I believe that South Africa is going to be like Europe and America, where you get one ticket systems, you pay cash, on public transport. I always say this: picture yourself in 2050. Nobody's going to be taking out a sticky 10 rand note paying in a taxi. They're going to pay digital. Someone has to fill that gap, and that's Loop.
That's amazing. I love how confident you are in it, and I think your confidence shines through to your customers, What's one misconception that people have about township innovators?
I think the biggest one is people don't want to pay tax. But if you dig deeper, you'll find out that the problem isn't paying tax or running away from SARS. It's actually a financial education problem. People don't know the benefits of using digital tools. I mean, you get people earning a lot of money in places like Manenberg, Kailicha, Hanover Park, but they don't have a digital record because they only deal in cash. And then on the other end, you get backyard dwellers that's staying in a Wendy house all their life and they can't get finance from a bank, not because they can't afford to pay a bond, but because they don't have a digital footprint.
Yeah. And would your advice be to younger people watching this and want to start off like you? What would your advice be in terms of digital footprints?
I guess my advice would be, I think that, if you could learn about financial education in school, that will be great. Nobody tells you about a credit score. Nobody tells you, how to bank smart, how to work with your money. So I think if that can be incorporated, from a very young age, it will actually make us, money smart. And you get a lot of companies that are, trying to teach people about money, working with their money. But I think it needs to start from a young age. So definitely encourage any young individual to start learning about financial education. And we've got a course on one of our partner platforms called Zlato. It's called Budgeting with a Purpose. And you can actually get rewarded for doing that course.
Okay, that sounds interesting. I think it's much needed, eh?
Yeah.
And do you think that someone watching this and seeing your journey, do you think that it's important to have a mentor? And did you have one?
I've got a lot of mentors, and it's something that I didn't realize it's needed. But over time, I listened, to top CEOs, getting advice from other people. So I believe that a mentor can play a pivotal role. I've got a couple of mentors, but one mentor that I work very close with is Marlon Parker, and he's the founder of R Labs, and I have regular catch-up sessions with him even up until today. So a mentor is super important in your growth as an entrepreneur.
It just guides you a little bit better, right? And what is success? What does success mean for you, not in terms of business, in terms of your personal life, and how has it evolved over the years?
Well, I think it's a bit difficult to measure success for me personally because I'm very, very ambitious.
Okay.
But I think it boils down to being a good person, a good humanitarian, a good technologist, and a good Muslim.
Yeah. Is there a verse or a quote that sticks with you or that you live by?
There's no particular verse or quote that I live by at the moment. But like I said previously, I do believe that, business is the toughest sport. And I always tell the team, just pretend to yourself that you're playing a, Rugby World Cup final every single week. It's all about high performance and being resilient.
And does that never get tired? Do you never get tired of that? Or does it not become heavy at some point?
I mean, entrepreneurship is very heavy. There was multiple times where I could feel that, it's not sustainable to, keep going. You need breaks in life. But what me and my wife, often tries to do is when we do get a gap over the weekend, we try to go away, try to do some stuff that we like, be close to the beach, go for walks, etc. But it's super important to find a work-life balance, especially when you are a founder and an entrepreneur.
Yeah, because you never actually really switch off, right?
Yes.
To close off today, what words of wisdom could you leave us with?
Never stop dreaming and always believe in yourself.
That is powerful, short and sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. It was an absolute honor to have you, and I wish you all the best.
Shukran.
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.